I'll join you. Good job. Hi everyone. I just read some news about how René Redzepi from Noma resigned, and I just wanted to talk about how you cannot hold other people accountable for anything. You hear all the time about people saying, oh, we need to hold people accountable. It's not possible. It's not feasible. The only person that can hold themselves accountable for the things that they do or say is that person. I can only hold myself accountable. No one else can. No amount of talking, negotiating, punishing can do that. You know, once, it reminds me of this story, once there was a kid who knocked on our door, not like, pranked, knocked on our door, well, hit our door with his foot. We happen to have a doorbell camera, and so I put it on the group of where we live, and then the guy, the parent, the father, came with the child and made him apologize. And I thought it was nice in the moment, but then I thought, like, yeah, I mean, that just teaches them shame, right? Like, you can't make someone else apologize for the things that they did. You cannot force that. It's not, it just teaches people shame. You can explain what that does and why it's not good, but you can't actually make someone truly apologize. An apology has to come from the inside. It's you realizing that you didn't like something that you did, or you didn't like how that impacted the other person, and you feel sorry for it. And nothing can make you feel like that except yourself. You can hear somebody else, you can like understand where they're coming from, but the only person that can do that is you. So I find these like performative sort of like accountability, like him resigning from the restaurant, him like making these messages, it certainly appeases maybe somewhat something there in our cultural fabric, but it certainly, first of all, it doesn't work because it will never be enough for some people, so you should do it because you feel like it, but you shouldn't do it to appease other people because it doesn't really work. And in the end, it's only performative. What actually happens inside is hidden from the world. So it just doesn't work. For a long time, I thought that I could make my mom apologize for the things that she did, or I could make my family feel bad about some of the way that they reacted and acted, but it doesn't really work that way. It's not possible. There's so many psychological effects that make it impossible. You can only ever explain to someone the impact that their actions have on you, but you can never expect more than that. Yeah, it just took me a long time to learn, you need to have, you need to, it's an internal work. It can only happen inside of you, by you, for you. It can never be for someone else. Like, it can never be by someone else. No one can make it, and I find that it's just like kind of like where society has been, where we expect performative action, but we don't, and it's never enough. It never feels like whatever the person did is never enough. So because we're like, how can he severely abuse his staff? What kind of apology would that require? What kind of action would that require? Because what we're really criticizing is, how could he do this? But he did. And it shouldn't stop the victims also for speaking out, and it shouldn't stop any of these conversations. But I I think forcing, or not forcing maybe, because I don't believe he was forced, but sort of expecting someone to do something, you know, yeah, it's ridiculous and it doesn't really work. Also, I want to highlight also the fact that sometimes we want people to apologize. Like, I'm talking, for example, about, like, you know, the culture in restaurants, from what I know, has been toxic. The environments have been toxic for a long time, you know. And we sometimes put people on pedestals and then we tear them down from these same pedestals that we put them on, you know, and because we expect better from them. But that's all our work, you know, to that we have done that. So we don't take accountability for that. We expect just people, celebrities, you know, people that are, you know, representative of a society, who are known, like known writers, known actors, known, like, whatever, businessmen, to do better because we have put them there and we expect them to, you know. But I think it also, so, you know, we use them as representatives to kind of like punish that whole area, you know, like that whole industry, you know, that they should have done better, which is, you know, I think a bit extreme to expect people to take accountability for a toxic work environment that they did not, you know, we're not the sole creators of. We're all co-creators. So that's another part also, that we need to take responsibility for what we did in these situations, you know, where we put people on pedestals and we participated unknowingly as a society to create an environment in which these people acted this way, you know, in constantly othering and kind of like saying they're the problem. We take away our own responsibility as a society, as a collective, in creating these patterns in some way, shape, or form, from sometimes from far away. But as long as we continue to sort of, you know, create these patterns unconsciously and follow these patterns unconsciously, we're gonna continue to hit ourselves against the same wall, where these people, you know, we hold them accountable for something that, you know, it is not our, we can't do that, you know. Anyway, we create this society, that's another part, we all co-create society as it is, and we all need to take responsibility for that, you know, and not just like sort of alienate certain people and to be like, you're the representative of society and you're what's wrong with it and you're fucked up. We're all doing it, you know. But another part is also to understand that the people who are the abusers now have been victims themselves, and it doesn't explain or justify, well, it doesn't justify and it doesn't take away the responsibility for the things they did or said, but it certainly does ask us to have humility and empathy for the fact that at some point these people were victims themselves. And I think it warrants, it just warrants empathy in the world, for us to just have a little bit more compassion for what people are going through. Yeah. So I think that's all I wanted to say. We cannot force other people to take responsibility for what they do. That's all an internal process, and you know, and understand that it's more prevalent than we care to admit to ourselves, and also understand that we are all co-creators of this society, and we cannot single people out and then again put people on pedestals and then tear them down. People are people. We're all like this. As much as we'd like to believe that we're not, I think understanding that as long as you continue to follow on a path unconsciously, we're gonna continue to create the society that we don't like. And it's only by accepting our own responsibility in it and our own place in it, also because I didn't feel like, I think I had a place in society for a long time, so I didn't feel that that's not me, that's them. It's also a way to kind of distance yourself from that responsibility. So as long as we keep doing that, we're gonna keep seeing that. So yeah, that's it. You can only hold yourself responsible, right, kitty? Right, kitty? That's it. Bye. What did you think?